Hi, I'm Mike McKee. I'm the State Director for the Florida Science Olympiad, and I'd like to thank you for helping out at the state tournament coming up in March. This set of videos is divided up into several groups, one of which is this introduction video, followed by several more, and you won't need to watch them all depending on the role that you've got, whether you're going to be doing an engineering event or a lab-based event. So you'll see the videos on this page down below. So let's get started. So if you're not familiar with Science Olympiad is a competition for middle and high school students. It was started in 1983, and there are now over 14,000 teams nationally that compete, not just at the middle and high school level, but there's also a separate elementary competition. We've run Science Olympiad with the goal to improve the quality of science education, and what you'll find is that the students that come and compete are quite excited about science, and many of them will go on to STEM-related careers. So the structure of what we've got at a Science Olympiad tournament is a school can send as many teams as they would like, which is critical because we do have some schools that send multiple teams. So each team is composed of up to 15 students with one lead coach, which is usually a teacher at the school. They have to qualify for the state tournament by going through a regional tournament. So we've had in the early part of the winter 7 regional tournaments across the state. And as I mentioned earlier, there are 2 divisions, B, which is middle school, and C, which is high school. So the students will compete in 23 different events at the state competition. There's overlap between the middle and high school, but they compete distinct and independent from each other for middle school and high school, although there's some overlapping events. And then we expect that there will be 4 teams, 2 middle school and 2 high school, that will go to the Nationals, which is in May. So here are the events. In Division B, you'll see that I've got some of these that are bolded, and these are the engineering-based events, such as Bottle Rocket, Hovercraft, and Mission Possible. These are events in which the students will look at the rules, and then they'll build a device according to the rules. They'll bring it, and then your role is to have them run that event or run that device according to the specifications. There are lab-based events. So these are events in which they come in, and within 50 minutes they have to identify powders with crime busters or do some unknown experiment or examine food and do some experiments with food. So these are typically in lab rooms in which we're doing these events. And then there are research-based events such as invasive species and meteorology, and so these tend to be more test-based events. Each of these events are teams of 2 students that are off that larger team of 15. So when you're preparing for your event, for example, disease detectives, you will give only 1 test packet for the 2 students. And then likewise in Division C, there's also overlap between some of these. So for example, disease detectives, dynamic planet are both done at middle school and high school. And then this year we're doing a trial event, quad rotor, in which students will build a drone, and then it's got to perform several tasks. And so that should be a fun one, and we're running that in the Engineering 2 atrium. So one thing to know is make sure as an event supervisor and as an event assistant that you read and understand the rules ahead of time. We have had cases in the past where the event supervisor and the event assistant did not read, especially the engineering events such as Scrambler, an electric vehicle. They did not read this clearly and understand how scoring worked, how the track should be set up. So please make sure you read through the rules ahead of time, make sure you understand how the scoring criteria works, and also critically check out the clarifications page on the Florida Science Olympiad website, because I have made several changes to the events, and I'm going to be sending emails to everybody to remind you as well. But it's very, very critical that you understand the rules. The students have practiced this for months now, so the students that are competing will know the rules quite well, so it's important that you read and understand those. So the rules are divided up into several sections. Anything that's in bold is a change from last year. So this doesn't mean that we're especially emphasizing anything other than drawing your attention to the fact that it's different from last year. It's also important to read and understand the scoring section. Most of our events are from high score to low score, but we've got two events, electric vehicle and scrambler, that are low score wins. And then you'll also find here items that are allowed, things that the event supervisor needs to provide. Now, of course, if you deviate from this in a significant way, it's okay. So, for example, we are doing a major deviation for forensic science, and we're posting that as a clarification so that the teams know this ahead of time. If you do need copies of your event, so if you're doing an engineering event, I'm going to have score sheets available for you. But if you're doing a lab-based or research-based event where you've got to write up a test or you write up a lab, then I need those 8 days prior to the tournament. So that'd be on the Friday prior to the competition, which is on March 25th. Excuse me. So make sure you get me those copies after that date. I just won't have enough time to make the copies, so then you'll go ahead and get those copies instead.